Today, the president-elect announced his latest cabinet pick, Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke, to be Secretary of Interior. Mr. Zinke is a first-term congressman and a former Navy SEAL. We heard from Transition Team Advisor Kellyanne Conway about the pick and more earlier today.
How's the transition going, Kellyanne?
Transition's amazing. We have 2 more cabinet positions to fill. Way up. It was a classic Trump project, ahead of schedule, under budget.
So reports are that Ivanka's moving to D.C. and possibly getting space in the White House. Are those reports true? Do you have anything to add to those reports?
So Ivanka and Jared will make their own decision and announcement in due course. I think that we would benefit tremendously by having them inside the administration if, in fact, that could happen. Ivanka is incredibly committed to women in the workplace, women in the economy, women entrepreneurs. She's had a wonderful platform during the campaign. Certainly, she and her father announcing the child care and elder care plan, I think, was a big highlight of our campaign and our outreach to women particularly.
Kellyanne, with regards to Congressman King coming in the meeting tonight, and obviously this afternoon, and with his track record with regards to terrorism, how much more receptive was the president-elect in terms of just listening to what the congressman had to say, or was there a lot of talking done by the president-elect, a lot of question asking, trying to understand what's going on?
I was not in their meeting, and I wouldn't disclose that anyway, but I will tell you that Congressman P. King has been a tremendous asset, and he's offered his counsel to the president-elect on any number of occasions. You see him on TV, you see his voting record, you see he's very emphatic about keeping America and Americans and her allies and her interests abroad and here at home safe. And it's a dangerous world. We see what's going on. We know he's got an opinion about the latest CIA information, and he's always welcome here.
Is it because he's a New Yorker as well, because he's just an hour away basically from the drive in terms of proximity?
Well, as you can see, we're basically, the president-elect is entertaining people from all over the country, if not the world, on the phone. I think they're up to about 90 or 92 meetings with men and women from all over the country, and certainly 50 or 55 world leaders on the phone. So it's just a very exciting time, and he's fully engaged. Leaving soon for the thank you tour in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the same arena where we were the Friday before Election Day. I remember I introduced him there last minute. It was 18,000 inside, 5,000 outside. I know that because I paid for the Jumbotron. And to go back there basically 5 or 6 weeks later is incredibly exciting for him. Tomorrow he'll be in Florida, and the next day Mobile, Alabama.
What do you think President Trump might be able to do with the embassy in St. Louis?
He has made that promise, and he has showed his commitment to that, particularly moving the capital to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv in Israel. But again, he's not going to do anything like that until he's actually the president. But I can guarantee you, just generally, he's a man who's going to accomplish many things very quickly. I think that's why his 100-day plan is so specific and so ambitious. He's just accustomed to delivering results quickly. When you're a successful billionaire businessman and brilliant real estate developer, you can't waste time thinking about it or having a commission or blaming other people who are in charge of the issue. You're used to producing and delivering, so I know it's very much on his mind.
Kellyanne, what insights did you get from Joe Kaplan earlier today?
I have no insights on that. I wasn't aware of that. I don't know the specifics.
Kellyanne, how far away do you think they might be from announcing the press secretary?
So we have a number of wonderful qualified candidates for press secretary. I know that you're all fascinated to know who that will be. That man or woman will have my full support, definitely, even though it's not a job I can take at this point in my life.
Well, you sure?
I'm positive.
Yeah. Do you think that will happen before the Christmas break?
It certainly could. I think the plan is to get these remaining 2 cabinet positions locked down, start to announce some of the deputy secretaries perhaps, and then start announcing some of the senior staff positions.
And DA, you think we can get that today?
Possibly. That's up to the president-elect. He's leaving soon, but he's just been a flurry of activity up there. It's possible, but maybe this week or next in due course. We're just really happy that we're way ahead of schedule, because even just the last 40 or 50 years, including President George Herbert Walker Bush, who was a sitting vice president, certainly knew who the qualified men and women to serve in his cabinet would be, but we're even ahead of that schedule, so it's good.
And do you have a sense yet of how much time the president-elect will spend here in New York after the inauguration versus Washington, D.C.?
Well, his job will be in Washington, D.C., so he's going to commit 100% of his time to being president of the United States. But we really haven't discussed his travel plans when when it's when he's not in the Oval Office. But that's where he'll be living.
You had mentioned in his free time he would stay on as executive producer of The Apprentice.
I was kidding. Everybody's so humorless. What's that?
How much free time do you think?
Okay, any free time he has, he works. I promise. And no, he's not. I'm not going to answer that question because I'd rather talk about his 100-day plan, which is going to take up a great deal of his time.
You met with Silicon Valley leaders
Yes.
yesterday. How is the success of Silicon Valley able to be replicated across the rest of the world?
So the president-elect was very happy to meet with the tech titans from Silicon Valley. As he credited them on the record in that meeting, he said, "You are some of the most innovative minds and important people, really job creators and innovators from across the country, if not the globe." So we're really glad that they got to talk about, really happy they got to talk about repatriating funds from abroad, certainly getting more serious about cybersecurity, increasing educational, vocational opportunities for those who want to learn more about technology, and then just working together really to know that they are the stewards, together, the private sector and the public sector, the stewards of our country. And he appreciates the fact that they're job creators, that they're economic stimulators, that they're investing in research and development. And he even said he would like to reconvene that group or a group like that quarterly if it's at all possible. We were happy that they came. I thought it spoke well of everyone, given the fact that they, by and large, have different politics. It doesn't even matter because they employ people and nobody cares what those people's politics are.
Amazon yesterday did their first successful drone delivery in the United Kingdom. Will President-elect Trump support drone delivery in the United States?
I haven't discussed that with him. I've done no Christmas shopping, so I'm fancying it myself right about now.
Where will the president-elect be when the electoral college has its votes?
On December 19th?
Yeah.
He's expected to be in Mar-a-Lago on December 19th. Actually, he'll be in Mobile, Alabama for the final leg of his thank you tour, which will be in Mobile, Alabama, same stadium where he was. Probably you guys, some of you were there, guys and gals.
August of 2000.
Yes, that's right. And he'll be there with Senator Sessions and some others. But it's so that's what he'll do.
So when the vote happens, he'll be at Mar-a-Lago?
It depends when the vote happens that day. He'll be in Mobile, Alabama, and then later that night he's expected to be back in Florida. We're not worried about it.
Did you say something about Monica Crowley?
Well, the president-elect is open to discussing national relations and our relations with other countries, including Canada. Obviously, the humanitarian crisis in Aleppo is very much on our minds. You have women choosing suicide over rape. You have major chunks of the population dying and destroyed. And I saw today John Kirby, the spokesman for the Secretary of State, John Kerry, saying that Secretary Kerry is increasingly frustrated. It's disconcerting. We need stronger words and we need more action. It is a humanitarian crisis in many years, and I really hope that this president, who's very much concerned about Syria, will be able to meet with his leaders and effectuate the kind of action that we know that he is known for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Work continued today at the Presidential Transition Team headquarters at Trump Tower in New York City. The president-elect met with a delegation from the U.S. Conference of Mayors. They spoke to reporters after the meeting.
My name is Mick Cornett. I'm the mayor of Oklahoma City and the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. This is Steve Benjamin. He's our second vice president and the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina. Our executive director, Tom Cochran. Our past president, Elizabeth Kautz, the mayor of Burnsville, Minnesota. And my vice president is Mitch Landrieu, the mayor of New Orleans. We had a fairly interesting meeting with the president-elect. Lasted about 15 or 20 minutes. He showed great interest in helping cities progress. Our priorities are based around infrastructure and public safety, and he has pledged to be a partner in those efforts. We gave him a little information about past funding streams and past histories with administrations. We have a meeting coming up next month in Washington. We're hoping to meet with a lot of the cabinet members there and get to know this administration better. It was just an introductory meeting, not a lot of substance went on, but we feel, at least I'll speak for myself, I feel pleased that he was willing to meet with us in this very busy time in the organization.
Did the transition reach out to you all, to the conference?
I've been engaged with people in the transition for quite some time, and the meeting took a couple of weeks to put together.
But you all wanted the meeting?
Yes, we asked for the meeting the day after the election.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
And Mayor Benjamin, can you talk a little bit about what you thought of the meeting?
I thought the meeting was very productive.
Can you get
Sure.
into
The meeting was very productive. The president-elect listened to our issues and concerns, our desire to see a significant investment in infrastructure and the protection of the tax exemption of municipal bonds as a key part of that plan. We also had a great chance to dialogue at length with the vice president-elect, which I thought was a very productive and even personal conversation. So we're excited about what the relationship we're going to build between the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the new administration. There's a lot of work to be done. We're going to focus on investment in American infrastructure, building schools and roads and bridges and the hospitals and water and sewer infrastructure, and also on making sure we build strong, reliable, responsible police forces all across this country. We have men and women who are doing great work on the ground there. We want to make sure that the best of the best are supported, and that this relationship inures to that ultimate goal.
Did he indicate to you guys who will be his point person for mayors?
He did not.
Did you know who the liaison to Congress is going to be? Is there anything he'd actually be working with?
We gave him our input that we hoped that a former mayor or a present mayor was elevated to a position of interest inside the White House who could guide the administration on intergovernmental affairs as it applies to local governments.
Joe Biden under Obama has really been a point person for a lot of states.
We generally dealt with Jerry Abramson, the former mayor of Louisville, in the intergovernmental office. That's the key position for us. Yes.
All the cabinet secretaries as well.
Yes.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you. Money for investment in infrastructure coming from exactly?
Well, the president-elect has indicated that he plans to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure. Most infrastructure in the U.S. since 1913, but certainly over the last 10 years, $2 trillion has been spent using the municipal bonds and protecting the tax exemption on municipal bonds that's been there since 1913 is sacrosanct to us delivering on infrastructure. 75% of America's infrastructure is built using this tool. So it was an important piece of the discussion for us to have here. Obviously, I know that the president-elect is a builder. He has some innovative and creative ideas. We want to make sure that all those ideas as well come on the table. But he was clear that his support of the tax exemption was there, and that was wonderful news. All right, thank you.
I just want to introduce myself. Anita.
Also stopping by Trump Tower today was Nigel Farage, the British lawmaker who championed the Brexit effort in the United Kingdom. New Jersey Congressman Scott Garrett, who lost his re-election bid in November, and New York Congressman Peter King. Mr. King and Suffolk GOP Chair John Jay LaVelle spoke to reporters after meeting with the president-elect.
Did the CIA ever get back to you about
Excuse me?
Did the CIA ever get back to you about Russia?
No, they have not. I have not heard anything from the CIA. And to me, what happened has been disgraceful. Whatever conclusion they want to come up with is one thing. There is no CIA conclusion. The CIA has repeatedly told us that they have no idea what the intent was. They think if there is an intent, it was just to disrupt the election, to create confusion, and cast a cloud over the winner. And right now, certain elements of the media, certain elements of the intelligence community, and certain politicians are really doing the work of the Russians, because they're creating this uncertainty over the election. This is just several days before the Electoral College. I've been in briefing after briefing, and even in the public statements, the Director of National Intelligence, the Director of the FBI have all said that they don't know what the motive is. If there is a motive, it was just to disrupt the election, not to prefer one candidate over the other. And to suddenly have appear in the Washington Post and the New York Times, the intelligence community, the CIA, has concluded this. Who in the CIA? Is it John Brennan? Is it some rogue person behind a desk somewhere? This is almost the CIA, people in the intelligence community using disinformation tactics against the President-elect of the United States, and that is just disgraceful. And the fact that they wouldn't even show up today for an Intelligence Committee briefing to tell us who was saying these things and who's not is disgrace. So anyway, Chairman LaVelle and I met with President-elect Trump. It was a very productive meeting. I was there primarily to discuss different ideas I had on homeland security and combating Islamist terrorism. And also, fortunately for us, Vice President Mike Pence, who is an old friend, was also there. So it was a very productive meeting.
Are you all interested in a job, or are you just talking, giving him advice?
I was just there really to tell him what no job, and I made that clear up front. Mainly, he's going to have very active agenda as far as Islamist terrorism and combating it. And I just wanted to give him some ideas I had as to what to do with the House and to tell him that I would be there fighting for him on it because it's so important.
Yeah, just like advice and counsel like I've done from day one in this campaign, and it was important that Congressman King was here today speaking with President-elect Trump. Obviously, this is one of the foremost experts in homeland security in the country, if not the world, and I couldn't concur more that what's going on now is an injustice to the American voters. Donald Trump has been elected President of the United States. He will be sworn in January, and I look forward to, honestly, what I believe will be one of the best presidents in the history of this country, and he's off to a great start. I'm proud of the job he's doing, certainly proud of my congressman, too, and, you know, security, national security and international security are the #1 issues that this country faces right now, and we have the right men and women on the job. And it was a great meeting, very productive, as Congressman King said, and we look forward to more in the future. So, no, we discussed national security issues and other issues, and you know, like I said, from way back in the early months of this year, I've been coming in and out of Trump Tower. A little less confusion in the lobby when I used to come in here, and Mr. Trump has always been that type of person. You know, I'm a local county chairman, and he likes to hear it from the street. He likes to hear what's really going on in America. That's why he has his finger on the pulse, and we've continued to have an awesome relationship, and very fortunate for that, and I hope he feels as fortunate for my advice and counsel as well. So it was very productive today.
What areas are you going to tackle first on day one?
Excuse me?
What areas are you going to tackle first? What security issues are you tackling first?
Actually, the main issues I discussed were what we have to do to have the Justice Department and the FBI be more leaning forward when it comes to investigating Islamist terrorism. I suggested a program similar to what Commissioner Kelly did here in New York, and that we can't worry about political correctness. I also focused on the fact that we have to still be on the lookout, obviously, for attacks from overseas, but it's the attacks like San Bernardino, Orlando, the Boston Marathon. They're the ones that are going to be attempted to be carried out, and we have to be more aggressive in trying to stop them. We also, he has a mind when it comes to understanding politics. He wanted to know every block and every corner of my district and how they voted, who voted for him and who didn't, and how I did and how he did. And I told him that in my district, which sort of leans Democrat, that President Obama carried it by 4 points each time, and Donald Trump carried it by 5 points. That was a 9-point turnaround in a district which has a Democratic plurality. So anyway, but it was a combination of down-home politics, and also talking about world issues. It's, running the world. You get tired after the meeting because he comes at you from all different directions. And then in the middle of it all, Mike Pence come in, and Vice President Pence, who I've known for many years, is a good friend. And again, it could have been better. And my daughter also joined us. She's a councilwoman in the town of Hempstead, Nassau County, and she spoke.
What program are you referring to when you talk about the program that Commissioner Kelly?
Ray Kelly here in New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, how it was very aggressive and forward-leaning when it came to trying to estimate and determine where terrorism would be coming from. Whether it was the various programs that Commissioner Kelly had, which unfortunately the Civil Liberties Union and the New York Times didn't like, but they were very effective in stopping terrorism, and they really should be a model for the country.
Do you think that Vladimir Putin's behind anything in the Russian hacking?
My own.
Or do you believe he's connected to the hacking in any way?
No, my own belief is that, yes, I do think the Russians were involved as far as hacking the Democratic National Committee. I'm not certain where they were as far as Podesta. That's not clear. But I do know that all of the intelligence agencies that have briefed us up till now have said they do not know what the motive was, other than other than to just disrupt the election and create doubt among the American people so that no matter who won, there will be a cloud over that person. So Putin or the Russians have succeeded because right now the media and certain Democrats in Congress and certain elements of the intelligence community are in effect doing what Putin wanted them to do, and that's to put a doubt in the cloud of the president-elect. I would say the same thing for Hillary Clinton, who had been elected.
Congressman, can you speak to concerns over his nominee for Secretary of State with his ties to Russia?
No, actually, we discussed that briefly, and no, the fact that he has ties to Russia, he was the head of one of the leading energy companies in the entire world. He has to have dealings with Russia. And the fact that he was able to build a relationship with Putin, to me, that can be used, it will be used to our advantage, because he knows how to deal with the Russians. And so, no, in and of itself, if anything, that's a plus. And again, he'll discuss this with the Foreign Relations Committee, but if we are going to deal with Russia, and I think we should, and I don't trust Putin at all, but I do think that there could be weaknesses that they have that we can use to further our interests. And again, working with the Russians, having someone like Tillerson who understands the Russian mentality, understands the Russian economy, will be a big plus to the United States.
Are you worried about the Senate confirmation process?
The Senate can take. I have no problems in the House, but no, the Senate. It'll be fine once it's out there. Once the American people hear. And also, I can say I was talking last week with a leading diplomat from one of our very, very closest allies, who does not like Russia, does not like Putin. But he thinks this is a time where the United States, the position we're in vis-a-vis the Russians, that we can negotiate and we can actually make progress in dealing with the Russians to our advantage.
Absolutely. If I may say, Donald Trump said from day one in this campaign that, he wanted to bring the best and brightest minds from the private sector into government to help solve our problems. And whether it's in Homeland Security, whether it is in, as Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson fits that bill. This is someone who has a tremendous reputation. He has dealt with world leaders from corner to corner of this globe, not as a politician, but as a businessman. And, this is what Donald Trump said he was going to do. He was going to professionalize our government. That's what he's doing right now. And I think a lot of people are overblowing the relationships. Of course he's going to do business with Putin and Russia. He's in the oil business. But, the quality of this man could be second-guessed by no one, and nor his motives. He will be for America, pro-America. I am absolutely sure of that.
If John Brennan himself were to make that assessment about a more direct tie, would that give you confidence? Or you had mentioned John Brennan, but I'm sure in the back there couldn't hear you very well.
No, listen, if was it John Brennan, is it somebody under him, who was doing it, and why didn't they tell the House Intelligence Committee, which is jurisdiction? Why go to the Washington Post and the New York Times when, under the law, they have to go to the House Intelligence Committee, and it's a crime to leak out classified information? So either they were doing it, someone was doing it, or there was a Democratic senator at a briefing, and he's giving out very selective information. And any information you get at a classified briefing, which is leaked to the paper, is a crime. Now, I'm not here to say we're going to lock everybody up. What I'm saying is, if they're going through all that, couldn't they at least find the time to, one, tell the president-elect, number two, to tell the House Committee on Intelligence, which is in charge of this?
Do you have a preference for the VA Secretary, by the way?
No, all I know is that, and I'm sure John will agree, President-elect Trump is almost obsessed with the poor treatment that veterans get in this country. He will pick the very best person, and he will stay on top of that person. I've seen him show more emotion on that issue than any of the other issues.
Does President-elect Trump support a Muslim community surveillance, or does he still support a Muslim ban?
He was listening. He was basically just taking it all in. He just said he wants to not be bound by political correctness. He wants to do whatever he has to do to protect the American people. And then I was talking, and he was nodding. So I'm not going to describe anything I said to him. These are my views. Okay? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
A group of protesters walked through the lobby of Trump Tower today. They attempted to speak to the camera before being escorted out.
These people, what's going on?
Yes, these are protesters.
I need to know what's going on. You want to come talk to us?
You want they're going to have them talk to us?
Excuse me, I'm going to back up just a little bit here.
So we are here.
Hold on, this is the microphone.
One second. Okay.
So,
Wait, can you hold on?
Of course.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Wait,
Eleanor, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, keep going, man.
So we are here to deliver over 400,000.
Go.
Over 400,000 signatures.
Keep going.
It's about a violation of the foreign bribery clause.
Sorry, man. We got to move on.
They won't let them stop?
Nope.
We'll have more updates for you from Trump Tower tomorrow and the rest of the week here on C-SPAN, as well as online